Supervisor Gatlin, all you wonderful district missionaries, the First Lady, the women of God in arms, my brothers, we are blessed of God to be in the midst of a war. But there's no danger in being in a war if you're ready for war. I was in the army of man, and as an officer, we were encouraged to prepare men to be ready for war. Not knowing when it will come, where it will come, but to be. And I used to hear when I was a boy, the old timers say, there's a war. Oh, some of you old timers too, huh? That war is still going on. And I'm grateful for Supervisor Gatlin, all of you wonderful district missionaries and women of God. The war is on, and you are called to a challenge. Lift up a standard. And if you lift it up, you can deal with the devil. Many of us lose the battle because we don't go. The devil is afraid of you, and you running from him. You got the power, and he doesn't have it. You have to use what God gave you. And what God has placed in you is much more mightier than what the devil has. He can fight. He can hit some licks that might hurt, but he can never knock you out the race. If you can hold to God's hand, it may hurt, but hold. You may have tears in your eyes, but you may be abused and you may be used, but hold. You don't always feel good about the way folks treat you sometimes. And the folks who hurt you the most are the folks who are so close to you. That's the reason why they can hurt you, because they're close to you. If you keep God close to you, they can't get that close because they got to come between you and God. Now, them old folks used to say, hold. Oh, y'all back then? I didn't know you were in that crowd. If we can learn that this is a journey and it is not given to us how long we must run the race. And I told somebody not too long ago, they talking about death and death. I said, I don't even discuss death. I did my business to get ready for death, and I put death behind me. So death is not a discussion. My discussion is Jesus. I'm looking up. And you got to stop looking down. And the more you talk about how bad things are, the worse you will feel. Look on the sunshiny side. Hold your head high. We don't sing it much now, but I used to hear them old folks saying, I'm running, running. I think we stopped singing that because we're not running. We're standing around trying to see. Baby, you don't have time to worry about nobody else. I heard them saints back there saying, if nobody make it, I'm not worried about you, but if nobody make it. And so we have a job to do. God bless Supervisor Gatlin and all these wonderful district missionaries and ladies of the Lord. I'm so pleased that God has, put women in the world. I'm glad you're glad for yourself. But it wasn't an accident. He had a purpose in mind. He wanted to produce. And he made woman to join man, and creation took place. And so as you work to do the work of the Lord, I'm grateful for you. You have a wonderful supervisor. That's not by accident. She had a wonderful mother. Oh, she felt that sometime her mother was difficult with her, but her mother had an instant touch from God, mold her, get her ready. So wherever God want to use her, I want her to be ready for God to just take her. Train up a child in the way he or she should go. And if you do that, then God can stop at any point and pick that child up because you got that child ready. You know how it is when you're trying to get that baby all ready. Somebody's coming and you got to go back 2 or 3 times to clean the baby up. But you don't get disappointed. You getting the baby ready. So we are here in this women aggregation getting ready for ministry. This world is in trouble. And God called women for a specific task. He wanted women to be ready to stand in the gap. God gave you a uniqueness that he didn't give to man. And we got to understand, if God gave it to you, it was not an accident. It was purposely given. And so I challenge you, you are blessed. You look at Sister Gatlin and you think she's wonderful. But if she hadn't had the kind of mother she had, she wouldn't be the kind of woman she is. Because there's some things her mother needed to tell her that I couldn't really tell her. She wouldn't have understood it like. And there were times she didn't want to receive what Mama was saying. She thought Mama was being a little difficult, tough on her. There were times when Mama said no. When she looked around and said, tears in her eyes, and wanted me to say, But knowing this, making is tough, but you never know what God is creating you for. And when we learn to know how God is working with us, then let's work with God. You never know where God is taking you. I don't know where all the brethren are tonight. They let me down. I'm really disappointed. Did you hear that weak voice? Some of us over here. You should have heard a roll. This is not a women thing and a men thing. It's a God thing. I've never understood why men get all uptight about, Women Day and they want to get lost. But then they want Women Day on Men Day. This is a God thing. We're in a battle together. And God made one for the other. And why you keep on trying to make one more important than the other? The only thing that makes one more important than the other is that you use what you have been given by God and the other one doesn't use it. We are workers. I wish I could get that in our way. We are workers. We can do so much more together than we can apart. We're blessed in the first jurisdiction of Louisiana to be a family. I'm still working on the men. They fail to recognize what a man is. They like to talk about it, but you got to be more than talk. If you're going to be the head, I've never seen the head down. I see the head on top. There'll be a whole lot of men ought to be out there. You would think so. I don't understand pastors. They can only get excited about you when it is anniversary time. What if the women would go on strike on anniversary time? I'm not suggesting that you do it, but I'm suggesting that you ought to suggest it. We are workers, and I've never understood Women's Day does not mean that's just a day for women. I've always gone to the Women's Day. When I was an elder, I went to the Women's Day. When the supervisor didn't want me there because she wanted to say some things she shouldn't be saying. Not this supervisor. Back that old supervisor didn't want the preacher in there. We don't need him in here. Why you don't need him in here? I need to know what you're saying. Because I need to be able to take that back to the women I'm serving. But if the stuff you're saying is not good, I don't need to. I'm preaching. That's all right. Don't worry about it. We are workers. I don't know why y'all keep talking about the women's church and the men's church. God didn't say anything about that. He made man, but then he understood man was not complete. If God's vision was going to be finished, he needed somebody to help man. He needed a woman. And then creation could take place. And I don't know why we keep fighting about who is the big one and who's the little one. Only thing that makes you small is you. Small-minded folks can never be big. And when you talking about, I never understood us admiring folks over there. Ooh, these folks. Baby, there is no jurisdiction bigger than the first jurisdiction. Some of you got it, the others you still, you'll get it next week. There are a lot of beautiful women out there, but there's no woman any more beautiful than the woman at 235 Diamond Drive. Oh, you look good, but I know the difference. Why you think I got her? You have to learn to appreciate what's yours. I never worried about who was driving a bigger car than I was driving. I just wanted to be sure my car was driving. When we learn to appreciate what God has given us, and we're good stewards over what God has given us, God will give us more. I made a choice of the lady that I've been with for, that's not your business how long, all of my life, I guess. And so I don't worry about these other folks. When I chose her, I closed the book on the others. I made my decision. The Lord helped me to make my decision. My wife prayed for me to make the decision. Oh, she didn't tell me that then. But she was praying, Lord, put me on his heart. That prayer got me. It's keeping me. And it paid off. It's been a good journey. One of the tragedies of our church today is that we have not lifted up the young people in our church. We've not tried to put in the young men how to be men of God in the church, and these girls how to be women of God in the church. No, every girl in the church may be kin to you, but there's some girls in another church that's not kin to you. I grew up in a church where all of them were my kin folks. But I knew every girl in the Church of God in Christ wasn't my kin folks. So I didn't have to run over there to Mount Heaps to find one. I had to go to Baton Rouge and find one. You have to understand, God makes provision for us. Stop trying to talk down the young people in the church. Help the young people in the church to mount up to the standards of the church. Encourage them to be what they are. Encourage the young ladies. Encourage the young men. You got to understand, there may not be no boys in the church for your girl, but they got some boys somewhere in the church for your girl. All the girls in the church may be kin to your boy, but if you keep on looking around, there's another church over there got some girls not kin to him. Because the church I grew up in, everybody was kin to me. But you know what? I learned how to look. I looked so far until I looked over the river. And what did I see? I saw an angel. And the Lord said, that's yours. That's all that matters. The Lord said it. I said, yes, Lord. She said, I said, yes, Lord. She said, I said, yes, Lord. You know and I know,